we had quite a bit of a technical deep dive now. My presentation is not going to be so technical. It's going to be more on a sort of high level, looking into things where we think we can share some insights from the mobile sector for the automotive sector. I'm from Seafarix. My name is Petteri Paasila. I'm a co-founder and CEO at Seafarix, and from Finland. But I've spent most of my working life outside of Finland, and a lot of it also in developing markets, in developing countries. Also some background with Nokia. I was ramping up Nokia's operations in Africa about 20 years ago or more, and then ended up working or consulting for operators as to how to bring new data products and things like that to the market. And I can proudly say that I was part of in a way, movement bringing the internet to millions of people for the first time in that time. So this is our journey at Seafarix. So it all started as part of Nokia's MeeGo operating system program, which was designed to be the Nokia's response to iOS and Android at the time. And then Microsoft came into Nokia, and the program was killed. And then that was part of the whole downhill of Nokia at the time. And but some of the engineers working on the MeeGo program decided that this is not the end of it. We will take this forward, and acquired the assets from Nokia and founded a company called Jolla, and continued developing the Sailfish operating system. They tried themselves first in the device business, trying to take on the big guys, Apple and Samsung, who were coming up. That didn't go so well. Next then was a kind of a pivot where they said, okay, we'll just focus on licensing the operating system, mostly to governmental and enterprise customers. And I came in 2018 to do that exercise, but it soon changed tack as we were approached by Mercedes, actually, because they had identified that as part of the operating system, we have a piece of technology which would allow them to run the Android applications on their Linux operating system seamlessly integrated. And so we ended up in long negotiations and discussions with Mercedes, and then ended up making the app support technology, as we call it now, automotive grade, together with them. I see there's some colleagues from Ambition here. We worked closely with them here in Berlin as well. And that's where the sort of automotive part of the story began, really. And in 2023, we decided that in order to serve the automotive market better, we will as part of a restructuring of the company and a management buyout, we put the automotive assets into a new company called Seafarix, which I co-founded, and that's why I'm here now. So Seafarix's focus is on the automotive. This is our current structure, very roughly. So there is a very loose group structure with Jolla, the original mobile company. Then we have a new entity that focuses on AI, and then Seafarix focusing on the automotive. And we tap into the AI development into both sides, both the mobile and the automotive. So Jolla Mobile still exists. They do community phones, so they're not trying themselves anymore in the sort of mass market, but also AI computers, small boxes, which is basically your personal assistant, where there's it also serves in a way as an AI router connecting to other models, but helps you in your daily life. And of course, there's the Sailfish operating system still very much alive. Over the years, there's been a lot of media attention because we were always seen as the small guys, taking on the big boys very bravely. And for example, TechCrunch every year writes something about us or Jolla. traditionally very active in the community. We have a very lively community on the Jolla side. And now I'm also pushing our guys at Seafarix to start contributing more to the AGL programs. We joined recently, we only joined early this year, so they've been very busy with customer projects, so I hope you'll start seeing more contributions soon. Okay, so let's focus on the automotive. That's why I'm here, and Seafarix. So basically, our main product at the moment is what we call app support technology. That's the one that you now get in all new Mercedes vehicles. And what it does, it bridges the Android applications, any Android application. It can be mobile or tablet or TV or automotive, seamlessly onto your Linux platform. It's much lighter than Android, so you're actually saving money. You're saving system resources as compared to Android, and it's easily updatable over the air, also for legacy vehicles, which is a very good thing. But the problem there, and this was touched upon also a little bit earlier in the keynotes this morning, is that the over-the-air capability is very important because you want to add value to your existing cars. But often the problem is, at least what we've experienced in discussions with OEMs, is that once the car is sold, there's actually not really an internal sponsor to do this kind of thing, because if something costs money, the product line doesn't want to invest anymore into something that's already out there in the streets. But at the end of the day, app support extends the lifetime value of infotainment systems. It's almost completely open source software. And we are now going live with a major Asian OEM planned for Q4. And we have a lot of traction and discussions with our friends and colleagues in Japan at the moment as well. There's some very interesting partnership that I was hoping to be able to announce today, but unfortunately the legal departments are often quite slow, so I cannot do it today. So hopefully at the summit in Tokyo we can have a demo around that also. But it's about very sort of attractive entertainment content that can be brought into vehicles together with us and this partner that we are in discussions with. Yeah, this is just one of the quotes by Markus Fischer, who was at the time the architect at Ambition. Then we have another new thing that we're bringing to the market. We call it C-Touch AI. So basically, it's an AI on the edge in the vehicle solution that learns to understand different input methods and also, for example, icons that are commonly used over different applications like play or stop or things like that. That learns to understand those, which I think could be quite interesting for some OEMs. And we're working on other things on the AI in the AI area as well. So one of the things that we have now come up with is basically that through app support, the sort of core technology, we can access messaging data that normally could not be accessed, and that can be brought into the sort of conversational AI environment in the vehicle, so that you can actually do much more meaningful things that you can do nowadays. So now it's like limited, hey, Mercedes, where can I get a pizza? Kind of thing. But if you can actually go through your emails with the voice conversation with your vehicle, or your messaging, or your schedule, appointments and things like that, that makes it truly meaningful. And I think this is still early days. So we're looking to partner with an OEM or a bigger player to make this mature this. But I think we have something very unique here in our hands because nobody else has this building block, at least to our knowledge. But okay, let's focus more on the things that we've learned along this journey, and I think are interesting to share with you guys. So basically, I think there's a couple of things like there's the dependence on big tech, which is growing. At the same time, you have this geopolitical uncertainty, which are creating major challenges. Many OEMs are increasingly relying on big tech, which by default ties them into their roadmap. Whether that makes sense or not, it's debatable. But at the end of the day, you will lose control over your future if you go down that route. And one thing that's often forgotten is, and then we've seen this from the mobile sector, is that, okay, Google often offers things for free in the beginning, but they won't stay for free for long. So I think this will happen also increasingly in the automotive sector. And of course, one important thing is that what was also touched on this morning, I'm not sure was it Murata-san or Panasonic-san, but is that when you that you definitely end up losing your future revenue streams if you go down that road. And I think OEMs, that's a very important thing for OEMs if you want to stay competitive in this environment, to have those additional services and features that you can bring into the cockpit in a way that you actually take the benefit out of them and not some other third party. And of course, now with what's happening in the geopolitical scene, that's another story altogether. Tariffs, as such, are causing huge unpredictability and investment freezes. We've already seen in some cases that programs have been halted because of that. Chinese OEMs will push very aggressively into Europe because their way into the US is blocked, at least for now. So they will come even stronger than they're coming now, and that of course also in a way opens up opportunities as well for companies like ours because there's a strong distrust into Chinese software, and that's why some of the Chinese OEMs are already starting to open up R&D centers in Europe, etc., to become in a way more Western or more European. And then digital protectionism. Now countries want to, keep their sort of gates closed, and I think the big loser of this game will unfortunately be the US, because if you close yourself down, you just fall off the bandwagon when it comes to technology and innovation. Well, now, if you go back 20 years or so, this is roughly what the mobile market looked like. So the traditional ODMs were losing momentum, Nokia especially, Motorola, BlackBerry. Now, Apple and Google came in very strongly, Apple with its closed ecosystem, and you had many Chinese newcomers at the time. And some of them established themselves. Many faded away because they were just often cheap copies, but some who did their job well stayed, like Oppo, Xiaomi, Huawei. And I think similar things will happen in the automotive segment now. So already now, traditional OEMs are losing momentum. Whether you want to accept that or not, but that's a fact. And Tesla is still powering on despite Musk's own world. And many Chinese newcomers are there, but some will establish themselves, and many will fade. So that's another parallel there. And now, if you look sort of very simplistic, what is the sort of basic architecture in the mobile phone, even at the time, like 20 years ago? You have the hardware, you have the operating system, the middleware, and then you have the apps and services which are being monetized. Now, by whom? Google, Apple, and the operators, not by the hardware guys. And the question is now, what's going to happen in the car market? And unfortunately, I think that monetization part of the apps and services is already mostly lost unless you act very quickly. And I was very happy to hear this morning that our Japanese colleagues have realized the need for speed and the need to speed up, because I'm not sure everybody has actually realized, but now you just need to make that happen, in my view. And then some of the other things that we've come across when dealing with OEMs and tier ones that are, in my view, hindering development and innovation is that many processes and structures are very hierarchical still and outdated with OEMs, which is in a way understandable. I mean, there is a lot of tradition and there's a lot of safety and security aspects to consider, but that doesn't help in speeding up things. Teams are often siloed. There are conflicting interests, like strategy, the sort of top management wants to go in one direction, kind of we want Android or that kind of thing. And then sales in different regions are saying, no, but we want this and we want that. And R&D is struck in the middle often. And then procurement wants to cut costs all the time. So it's very difficult to, in a way, make clear, meaningful decisions in this kind of environment. And I think that's where the Chinese have a big advantage at the moment, because they don't have this situation. Of course, the use of AI in the car, but also in the production processes will become critical. And then one thing that I've seen, unfortunately, a couple of times is the relationship, the traditional dependence between the OEM and the tier one doesn't help often with getting things done quickly, because often the OEM relies to the tier one, okay, like saying, we would like this, and then please tier one, can you make it happen for us? And then tier one says, yes, we can make it happen, but it's going to cost you so much, and it's going to take you so long, and we're going to do it this way, even when there would be other ways to do it quicker, which are often not really looked at. And that's sometimes painful from our perspective, where we can see that the way things are being done doesn't make sense, and it could be done much sort of more streamlined and faster. I mean, nothing against tier ones. We need to work with tier ones as well, but sometimes they also need to embrace the innovation in the same way as the OEMs need to embrace it. Yeah, well, I'm coming to the end of my story here. I think the traditional OEMs, and I think everybody knows what I mean by traditional OEMs, need to become much faster, and not all will make it. That's clear. Some will be forced to unwanted mergers and things like that. Some of the SDV companies will lead the way, and very strongly, of course, mostly EVs. And I fear that the race for monetization, in many cases, not all, might be already lost if you get too close with one of the big tech players. And I think, in general, Linux and open source are becoming even more relevant in these times. So yeah, that was it on my part. Any questions, comments? We can talk later. There were some questions. Okay, let's take some questions.
No. Yeah. No. Hi. Thanks for the presentation. One question regarding your product. So app support, right? Mm-hmm. how do you deal with compatibility with apps that require Google services? So can any Android app be installed?
Yes, any.
So how do you deal with the GMS requirements?
I'm not an engineer, but I'd have to ask my guys. But there is no problem whatsoever. So any Android application can run without modifications. Can run on the app support.
Okay, thank you.
So one of the things where I see that Apple and Google have really made a big step compared to, for example, Nokia back in the days, was providing a storefront kind of for all of the applications and the whole ecosystem. Now in the cars, this thing already exists in terms of the Android applications on the Android Automotive. How do you generally see it in case of using Linux or using Google without gas, like the Android Automotive without gas? How do you see this whole generally gatekeeping and storekeeping being done in the future if you want to stay independent from Google, let's say, but still having possibility to offer the applications and that the developers can publish applications for the cars as well?
Well, I think the best way is to just stay with Linux and even if you go down Android Automotive without gas, you somehow tie yourself into the Google roadmap. And you might end up having to pay for things that you never thought you would have to pay at one day. So I think the best way is to use app support and stay with Linux. To answer your question. Yes, sir.
It's probably a bit hard to answer this question, but I'd like to ask this. From the traditional car OEMs, which company would be surviving, or which company would not be surviving?
I think Toyota will survive. It's a very solid and strong company, so it will take a lot to take the really big ones down. Yeah.
So you emphasize the importance of using Linux, for example. I assume not all of your products are fully open source. So what in that regard, what can you bring to the table in regards to the free software ecosystem or AGL or so, which can improve the situation?
Yeah, thank you. That's a very good question. And that's something that, like I said, I'm not too happy about myself because we're quite small team and we are dealing with big OEMs and tier ones. So that keeps our guys very, very busy. So I was telling to Jan Simon earlier as well that I'm trying to push the guys to start contributing more to the AGL programs. But we've just been like very busy over the past months. But definitely that's the target.
But yeah, also I understand that. But what if you could, what would it be?
I'd have to consult with my CTO on that, like what would be the most sort of relevant and suitable contributions. But we can take that offline and come back to it. All right. There's one more.
Very short question. Can you maybe explain a little bit more? What do you mean with accelerating development cycle? Do you mean the same thing that switching from traditional development of the software and then dividing it to the ECU versus SDV development, where you split hardware and software development, or you mean more, or you have in mind maybe different development cycles or methods and tools?
Well, mostly I was talking in general about what was already touched on this morning, that it just takes too long, and if let's say the Chinese OEM is doing one platform every 6 months or every year, and a traditional OEM is planning today what's going to come in, I don't know, 2029, it just takes too long. That was the point. But I think that's been widely acknowledged now that things need to speed up.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.